And good evening out there, guys. What's happening? Bit of a late one. Apologies for that. But unexpectedly, just had to go and daddy duties. Couldn't get out of them. Couldn't get any substitutes to come down and fill in. So just had to put this on hold. So here I am. A little bit later than expected. But shout out to everybody down in Cape Verde. Happy 420. Hope you're all well. Fix me light. She's about to fall over. What's happening, Hype? What's happening, Daniel? Welcome along to the show, guys. Again, as I say, a bit of an unusual one here this evening. 2 hours later than expected, but we'll do a bit of a short show. A bit of a warm-up, I suppose, there for the interview this evening with Green Tea. A great interview it was, too. I really enjoyed that conversation there with Green Tea, and it was a real eye-opener to what life is like for a cannabis grower, but also a person who is a full-time carer, and they grow the cannabis for the person that they're caring for. So a real eye-opening interview there, just to see what life is like for people in that situation, and how prohibition has a major negative effect on their life. So right, as we do, it's 4:20. Better blaze up with the Cape Verde guys, or they might get out at me. So we pack up an old bowl. Oh, what's going on, Green Tea? I see Green Tea is after joining the audience there as well. Good evening, Green Tea. And good evening to everybody else out there. Guys, see a couple of you in the audience. You're all quiet out there. Say hello, so I know who's out watching. While you all type hello in the box or say hi, I'm going to get hi. I'm going to commit some civil disobedience here. Protest, as we do in 420 News. Making sure that camera wasn't zoomed in. My head looks bigger than normal. It's normally pretty big though. Oh, I see somebody's after joining over on Twitch. Who's over on Twitch? Say hello, whoever you are. What's going on, Addy Ryan? Yo, yo, yo. Right, that's the little bit of civil disobedience done for today's 420 podcast. Come on, see what's going on. Not much happening. It's Friday, so it's High-Day. I said I couldn't let a Friday go without coming on with yourselves. I did miss 420 a while ago. Again, as I say, my daughter had to be brought to her extracurriculars, and unfortunately there was no one but myself to do it. I was hoping I might have got somebody else to fill in and help out there, but sadly not. So a slightly delayed show, but an opportunity, as I say again, to warm up to a great interview that's coming your way, guys, in less than 40 minutes. Yes, less than 40 minutes. You get the CD interview there with myself and Green Tea. And a great one again it was. And Green Tea is in the audience as well, guys. So say hi to Green Tea. Karan C says, Dosey Dose drying out, ready for next week. Oh, very nice, Karan, man. Very sweet indeed. We got gifted some stuff there recently, and it smells really nice. A buddy of mine grew it, 8472. But it still needs to dry out as well. You just like, look, take a bit there for yourself, as I called over, and just dry it out yourself at home. So yeah, looking forward to tasting that once it's cured up. It's only a little branch, but happy out with it. Who's that? Oh man, Hype you, mad dog you. Thanks very much, Hype. Hype definitely up there with Russell Banta. I'd say Hype and Russell Banta are probably at the top of the leaderboard there for people who've financially supported the show. I do believe over in, if you click on that link on support the stream, I do believe that actually like shows you a leaderboard. I'm just wondering there now, just out of curiosity. But yeah, nice one, Hype. Really do appreciate all the support that you send in there, man. It definitely goes a long way. Thanks very much, pal. Just look and see if that stream or that link actually brings you to it. Never actually clicked into it while the show is on, and it's like, oh yeah, live. And yeah, as I said, look, the Hype on the leaderboard over there. Got to give credit where credit is due, and Hype, man, your top supporter of the show there. Oops. There we go. That's the one. So there you see it. Hype. With it this month alone, Hype, $40. So I really do appreciate that. Thanks very much. If you're down in Dublin, give us a shout, or up in Dublin, yeah. I'd be always mixing that one as well. I'm going down to Dublin there, and just like, don't you mean up to Dublin? It's like technically, like, but what is up and down really, like, you know? Like if you're up in space, like, and you get spun around, like, what is up and down really? Like, are you just going to judge it based upon where your head is and your feet are? But yeah, sorry, going off on a tangent there. Had a few stoned conversations about that one with friends in cars late nights. This is like on about directions. It's like, oh man, it's like, what are we even talking about? All right, let's get stuck into the headlines, guys. Because I don't want the show to run over into the interview. I would like to get this done in about 15 minutes and have another talk or two with yourselves, and then sign off, and we'll head on over to the chat room over in the at the interview. But the first headline I have for you today, guys, and this is some good news. Depending, I don't know where you sit in the fence on this one, whether you would regard this as being good or not. Like, in one instance it could be good, but in the other instance, you know, being a citizen of the country and, you know, wanting the place to be good for my kids to grow up in, this is kind of bad news as well. But this is coming out of Wexford, I believe it is, where a superintendent, an inspector, and a detective are being held as part of an investigation into a Limerick criminal gang. All three members of the Gardaí arrested yesterday on suspicion of corruption have been released without charge, and they've been suspended from duty as well, and files have been prepared and sent to the DPP, and prosecution is pending. So a crazy one really here in Ireland. It's not been a good week or 2 weeks there for the authorities here in Ireland. This is coming out. I believe it was out there the other day that was it last year they had over 40 members of the force suspended, whereas this year I'd imagine they're closing in on 30. I think it was 20 odd the other day, but if there's another 3 added to the list, well, that number is growing away. So again, as I say, like, some people might take that as good news. Decent, the cops are getting theirs, like. But at the same time, it's like, we've always known the force was dirty anyway. We all know the reason why it's dirty. If we just take away prohibition, these criminal gangs go away, and the ability to corrupt our Gardaí and our police force, that also goes away with that power that the organised crime gangs lose. You know? Because, you know, there's people there, and I actually didn't include this one in today's 420 news, but I'll get around to it in a couple of seconds. I'll add it in there, old style. Never mind this lady there as she pops up on screen. Don't need to see her. But you've like heard of what is it, 7? Yeah, you've heard of 2 men and what is it? 1 man, 1 jar, and 2 men, 1 cup, or something like that. Remember those videos that went around there? Well, the latest one, and I think this kind of comes off the back as well as like the elf on the shelf, you know, all these ones. I'm just typing her in here now. Sorry, guys, so bear with me, because I actually didn't get to include this one. I didn't think I'd get around to it, but now that I think about it, you know, it's worthwhile including in it, because there was something said within this piece that I'm going to bring up next. But it's, have you heard the story of 7,000 kilometers, 11 men, and one boat? Have you heard this one, guys? Yeah, this is a story that's been spun there by our buddy over at Moac. You know the guy Michael O'Sullivan, frequent a feature of the 420 News, as he likes to spout on about the stuff that they're doing. Yeah, two girls, one cup, that was the one. And what was the other one? Two guys, one horse or something. But yeah, this is the one, 7,000 kilometers, 11 men and one boat. A story told by Michael O'Sullivan, the chief or the lead investigator there over at Moac. I'm just going to get up the story there now for myself. But he's back. He was up there on RT News, and he was telling the story as to how the cocaine makes its journey from South America over to Europe. And he also highlighted in there within his storytelling that all of these organised crime gangs now across Europe, well, that they're effectively working together. They're working together, they're buying their shipments of drugs together, and he talks about it here within this video that I'll get up on screen there now for you in a couple of seconds. But there's something he says in this that I would like to clue into, home in on as we get through it. So this is over on RT News. That's the headline: 7,000 kilometers, 11 men, one boat. How cocaine reaches Europe. So I'm just going to mute the music there, and I'll put on the audio as our buddy Mike talks, because I don't want to be getting pulled there. Just probably protected audio or something like that. They tend to do that with their news pieces. But this guy's like spouting on us that how Ireland has been a big part in tackling the European drugs market, and we need to do more. We need to go further out there into the high seas to make these interceptions.
Spain, whether they drop it on the west coast of Ireland or indeed the west coast.
So like you see the span that they're trying to cover here. Like look at the journey that's being made by these drug smugglers in like sometimes man-made, like you're made in the jungle, DIY bloody submarines, and they're going from the south of America all the ways across, overreaching, Africa, the Canaries, Azores, and going onwards then, like, and even you see one line there actually going directly to Ireland from the big circle over there. So it really goes to show like how big a job it is to actually detect the importation of drugs, and then as well, like these channels are used by shipping routes as well. So a lot of the times there's legitimate shipping containers going through here, like, and you see the size of those containers and the number of them as well. The sheer volume just makes the task ever more like daunting in order to kind of for our authorities to search each and every container. It's impossible. It's not going to happen at all. You've seen the problems that were caused there by the blockage in that Suarez Canal or whatever it's called. With shipping around the world and stuff like that. Imagine if they were to slow it up even more by having to scan every single bloody container coming through in order to try to deter people that is use of drugs. They just wouldn't stand for it really. But we go on.
The UK, the other is, this is where the market is. The vessel came from South America, and it was loaded with about 2.5 tons of cocaine, with a rough value of about 180 million euros.
And Michael, whereabouts were the drugs actually? Were they hidden, or were they?
No, they weren't. They weren't concealed. They were. If you got close enough, they were on view, but nobody was ever going to get close enough on the high seas. When we got here, you could barely get into the room with the drugs were packed about that high.
So like what they're not talking about there is the working conditions there for the people importing these drugs. So like if you're on a boat like that, and if the drugs are stacked up like that high within the areas in which they have to move around in, like that's quite dangerous. There's reason why we have workplace regulations, and sure, in the drugs shipment trade there is no regulations like that. Oops, apologies. My bad. Should have put that on mute there before I came on here. If it's important, they might ring back. Hopefully they don't. But like if cocaine was regulated, the people that this was being bought off of, they would be ensured that they get a fair price for it, that they're not getting taken advantage of by some of these organised crime gangs as they currently are. The people involved in it would be paying income taxes, the product being moved would be, and people like Michael then unfortunately might be out of a job, or maybe he might go and actually do some real police work, and actually protect people by maybe intercepting like human trafficking or something like that, something beneficial to society. But no, unfortunately, Michael will never talk about any prohibition.
Many of the vessels that are used and that are intercepted never come to Europe. They pass Europe, and a vessel comes out to take the drugs from them. They're in very large, square, plastic wrapped type of containers. They're quite heavy. Each of the various sections of the load would have different markings, brand imaging, and the purpose of that is to know which criminal group it's going to. Everyone knew who was getting what. So it was pre-arranged back in South America. Your order was, and there's your brand image. Once the drugs hits land and it's dispatched and cut up and sent to various countries, it is impossible to get, for want of a better term, a mother load. We're now into industrial type levels of seizures. Put it in perspective, last year was probably the most successful year for law enforcement at Limerick, and there was 2.2 billion euros worth of cocaine seized. This year there is in excess of 3 billion euros, so with some 25 ships intercepted. Cocaine.
And this year isn't even over yet, guys. Do you know what I mean? Like, think about how much it's going to need to snow over Christmas. People like to, party with a bit of schnock at Christmas time, don't they? So 3 billion already this year, and it's probably only about maybe 1 to 10% of what actually is imported in. So I would imagine it's about 1%, about 300 billion euros worth of cocaine there coming in. Imagine that, like, crazy amount. But it's this statement here that he's about to say, cocaine is the lifeblood of criminal organisations. It's cocaine, like what he's saying here. Cocaine is the lifeblood of criminal organisations. And why is it why is it so rich? Why is it such a nutritious source of life for these criminal organisations to live off of, might you ask? Prohibition. The very same prohibition that Michael enforces. So Michael talks about cocaine being the lifeblood of the criminal organisations, but in reality, it's prohibition that provides the nutrients to that blood in order to provide sustenance to the body of the criminal organisations. So in reality, prohibition is the thing which gives a life to criminal organisations. Never mind about the lifeblood. But it's like what? Like, you can have blood, but if you don't have nutrition, if you don't have stuff coming and feeding you, well, that's the prohibition there. But we will let him say his piece.
It is the lifeblood of criminal organisations. It's the market, and it's drug of choice, and the market is good. It is the lifeblood of all criminal gangs. Hence, you have feuds and shootings, and people who can't control the wealth and power that suddenly becomes available to them. So it is vital that the cocaine market be restricted, closed down, disrupted.
But right, if we were to take Michael's frame of mind there, the way he's thinking, because he's applying that to cocaine, which is prohibited at the moment and controlled by organised crime gangs. But let's rewind, let's just go back like 100 years ago when alcohol was prohibited, that 1920s, 30s era, when you had the likes of Al Capone and the other organised crime gangs out there. The different things that happen, at that time, you had some serious incidents over there, and the Tommy gun, like just to mention the Tommy gun, when you hear the Tommy gun, that's notoriously known with the rise of the mobs because of alcohol prohibition. And one incident over there in the US, the St. Valentine's Day massacre, which involved two uniformed police walking in with two men in plain clothes carrying Tommy guns, They walked into this premises and they basically killed everybody in there. They went in as cops, they lined them up against the wall, they disarmed them, and then they basically just shot them all cold-blooded and finished some of them off with shotguns while they were on the floor. And that was alcohol prohibition at the time. You know, if you were to associate this with the trade of alcohol, which we all know it's not. Like, you look at alcohol trade today, do you know, is this going on out there today? Is there Tommy guns being used? You know, do you have scenes like, wrong scene, boom, boom, boom. Where is it? I had a scene there loaded up for you earlier.
St. Valentine's Day Massacre.
This was me learning about it earlier today. Apologies. Where's it gone? Ah, darn it. Never mind. Anyway, like, you've scenes there from movies where you see guys going in with the Tommy gun going in. I had a scene there from Lawless where the guys open up with the Tommy gun, you know. But if you were to like make Michael's frame of mind and put that to alcohol, like, imagine if we didn't have an alcohol industry today. Imagine if we still had alcohol prohibited and still controlled by the Al Capones and those other ruthless criminals out there who enforce their trade with violence, with bloodshed, you know. So if we were to take that same mindset, we would be in a very dark place right now. Because that wasn't going anywhere good anytime soon at all. You know, alcohol prohibition, with the power it gave to the organised crime gangs over in the US, of course it was the sensible thing to do was end alcohol prohibition. People were still getting access to alcohol, and the organised crime gangs were making so much money as a result of the prohibition. So it just made sense. Just end it. Harm reduction. Oops, what happened to everybody's comments? Missing everybody's comments there. Thought there might be something up on my stream. Say hello to my little friend, Podge. Yeah, that's kind of it. Like, you know, prohibition gives rights to the likes of these guys. We just end prohibition, you know, as much as crazy as it might sound, to be able to walk into a chemist and be able to buy, you know, some cocaine, or to be able to go into a cafe and order some coca leaf tea. It's a lot more sensible than what we currently have, where the Kinahans, the Hutches, and the other criminal gangs of Ireland and the rest of Europe are in control of it and making ever so much money, and the authorities are ever like they're never going to catch them, they're never going to stop them, and that's it. That's the reality of it. Like, look at this situation. That the guys that they can catch, you know, that this is a case coming out of Ireland where there was an escaped prisoner. He was locked up for this is the case of John Mangan. And I talked about it the other day when he escaped from prison because they found a burner phone and he absconded when his cell was being searched, or maybe before it. But he escaped prison where he was serving basically a 10-year sentence for cannabis. Well, he was caught with €2 million worth of cannabis going back a couple of years ago. And he is serving a 10-year sentence for that. But he's also serving a 14-year sentence for firearms charges. And you know how they came about the burner phone? Well, he was actually texting somebody from prison, threatening their lives, you know, because he believed that this person's son owed him money, going back from the time when he was out working or had some association there with him. But from prison, this guy was threatening the life of people out there, and this guy sent an email into the prison and said, "Hey, come here, look, this guy John, he's up there, and he's messaging me." And it's not going down well. He was actually shocked to find out that prisoners at this open prison where the guy escaped actually are allowed to have phones with abilities to get access to the internet while they're in prison, which is messed up. He wasn't due for release until 2024, but he's after escaping from prison. So again, you know, it's not good for the Irish justice system. The guys that they're locking up, they can't even keep them locked up, you know. Like, and when they're locked up, then they can't even keep control of them. The guy is in prison sending threatening messages asking for money from prison where he's serving a 10-year sentence. It's like, how many years could you actually give that guy to try to deter him from engaging in his behaviour? There's not enough. You could sentence that guy to death. You could have the death sentence there and he still wouldn't be deterred, I would imagine. So again, legalisation, regulation, education. That's how we're going to save lives. That's how we're going to reduce harm from drugs. That's how we're going to improve our society here in Ireland. It's the only way. And we drive on, and in another headline, the Irish government have said that they're going to explore potential to develop the hemp industry here in Ireland. And this is comes out as the Department of Agriculture is understood to be reviewing the current regime here, which is interesting given that our buddy, old Frankie Fian, he had an old post up there the other day. I believe I've it up here. There we go. There's Frankie Boy. I'll pop him up on screen here. But yes, I wonder if these two incidents have anything in relation to one another at all. So here you see Frank Fian pictured actually with the Minister for Agriculture there, Charlie McConaughey. I can't pronounce that name there. Look, jeez. McConaughey. Anyway, the Minister, Charlie, the Minister for Agriculture, he was above there in Sligo with the Minister for Drugs. So I wonder at all, did the conversation come up about the problems caused by our current drug policy, which prohibits cannabis, which is restricting the farmers then to grow cannabis and utilise it to its fullest ability. So it'll be interesting. And we did hear from the Hemp Federation Ireland the other day as to how they're walking away from this conversation currently with the government, as they're really restricting the farmers there. They're not allowing them to utilise the full potential of the plant. They want them to destroy the flowers in the field and not utilise them at all, despite all of the valuable compounds contained within them. So yeah, hopefully there'll be some positive news there come out of that soon. But currently, it's a load of BS. The Irish government exploring it, and we've been talking about it for ages. The only way that they're going to do this is end the prohibition. Are they willing to do that? I don't think that they are. But Gino Kenny will give them an opportunity very soon, and I look forward to that. I look forward to the conversation around that too. Yeah, Frank the Plank. Go on, Podge. Yes, I agree with you there as well. What the other thing you called him? Green Tea says, I'll believe it when I see it. These mother effers couldn't organise a smoke session a weed farm. Yes, love it. I love that, Green Tea. I'm going to have to steal that one as well. No more organising piss-ups in a brewery. We're organising smoke sessions on a weed farm. McConaughey. Jesus, sorry, Green Tea, you're probably still laughing at me. I'm gonna have to listen to it. I'll listen to his name being said later, and I'll then laugh at myself as to how bad I fucking. It's the last part like McConaughey. I don't know. Don't keep making me say it. Yeah, no integrity there in the Irish government. No, they ain't got no integrity at all. Right, guys, final headline for you today, and we'll blaze one or two more up there before we start the interview then with Green Tea, starting at 7 o'clock, guys. So set your reminders over on the other link there if you haven't done so already. So less than 10, or just up more than 10 minutes, 11 minutes there and counting. Final headline, guys. A man who was caught with apparently €14,000 worth of cannabis claimed that the cannabis was only worth €50 because it was really bad homegrown weed. And apparently the cannabis had been sitting around for quite some time because it had no use there. I'd love to see that cannabis, in fairness, and how bad it must have been, and if the guy was saying that it was only worth €50. If it was really bad, then it was probably worth nothing at all. But €1,400 worth, was it mouldy? Was it damp and shit? I don't know what the crack is with it. If you're the individual out there at all, do get in touch, because he's out walking free. Although he did get he got a 9-month sentence, suspended for 2 years, along with a €300 fine. Imagine that, €300 fine, and on top of it, a 9-month sentence, suspended for 2 years. So this guy is going to be afraid now about what, literally looking over his shoulder, that he might sneeze the wrong way one of the days, and potentially have that bloody 9-month sentence activated. It's a horrible situation, for anybody to find themselves in for being caught with cannabis. Cannabis poses no risk to anybody at all, unless maybe you're predisposed to fucking schizophrenia, but then you're ever more at risk when it's in the control of organised crime gangs, because they're not going to educate you about that. No, they're not. So it'll be interesting to see if that individual gets in touch, if he has any pictures of the cannabis, and if he was willing to share them with me. But that was an awful sentence to be getting, like €300 fine and a 9-month sentence suspended for 2 years. Horrible. So that's it, guys. That's all the headlines I've lined up for you today. I did get that one extra one in there that I didn't actually intend to get around to. I was going to touch off it on Monday, but as I just wanted to really just home in on that part that Michael O'Sullivan was, cocaine being the lifeblood of the organised crime gangs. I think I'm going to actually just do a blog post on that, or if there's anybody else out there who feels like they want to have an old rant about that, by all means, I'm more than happy to feature anybody out there as a guest on the blog. Give you your own alter ego and all over there, your own little alias, your old blog alias, if you would like it all, if anybody would feel like it. But yeah, guys, less than 10 minutes now for the interview there. So yes, look forward to that one with green tea, guys. Actually, I have an old bowl packed up here and all ready to go, but going to lubricate first. I see Cassidus join the conversation. What's happening, Cassis? First comment I've seen, man. You probably commented earlier, but I wasn't really watching the comment streams coming in too much, except for green tea laughing at me. Oh, and Skatanis was a bit late. What's going on, Skatanis? Welcome to the show. Yeah, Skatanis was here at 4:20, ended up catching up in Wednesday's news. Apologies for that, Skatanis. Alexis needed to be brought to acrobatics, so daddy duties, you know what I mean? Sorry, guys. I did get this little bit of extra show in there, just squeezed it in there before the interview with Green Tea. So I couldn't let Fri-High-Day go without a little bit of civil disobedience here. Green Tea said, I sent you on a video on DM and said it for you. Nice one, Green Tea. Appreciate that. I'll pop that. I won't play your voice. Or no, but yeah, it's okay to play your voice on here, actually, because everybody's going to hear your voice in a couple of minutes. Hopefully.
Okay, it is pronounced McConaughey. Okay,
McConaughey.
McConaughey.
Nice one for that, Green Tea. Really do appreciate that. McConaughey. Nice one. McConaughey. Jeez. The UE threw me at the end, like, I was just kind of like you. It made me think of like McConaughey or something like. Yes, let's blaze one up anyway. Nice one, Green Tea. Really do appreciate that help. Wonder how many people are over there waiting. Oh, we got 2 people over there waiting for the premiere. Ooh. Yes. Looking forward to this. I'll be in the chat box there with you as well, guys. So if you're watching it as it premieres, be sure to say hi and leave some comments. I'm sure Green Tea might be popping around as well. So I'll pop it up on the screen. This is the one there, guys. Hit the reminder. Get over there into the chat box and say hi. I'll even say hi to everyone now. Boom. Hi, everyone. So yes, guys, make sure you say hi to everyone in the chat box. And look at that amazing work by Green Tea. In fairness, like, just admire that sheer beauty. Like, I believe that looks about maybe 4 to 5 weeks into flower. And this Mendocino skunk, by Chang's Choice from Paradise Seeds. So it's one of Chang's selection. Tommy Chong, who was on the Arplo podcast the other day. But incredible work there. Mendocino skunk. It looks absolutely amazing. Oh, I see Daniel there to pop it into the chat box there as well. What's happening, Daniel? But like, yeah, incredible work there by Green Tea, who's, again, just to remind you all, full-time carer for her husband who suffers with MS, paralysed on one side of his body with extremely limited mobility on the other side. Full-time carer working from 6 in the morning right throughout the day, and also at the same time a provider, a grower of his herbal healing. So a great interview. Really do look forward to hearing this one. Oh, Billy Bonds is in the chat as well. What's happening, Billy? Yeah, that's Green Tea's big baby there. Alrighty, guys. We got like 2 or 3 minutes there before we're going to have to sign off of this one. And I'll leave you all to get over to the other one. But I'll get through a couple of more of your comments. I see R420 is out in the audience. R420 Supplies, guys. Get over and check out r420.ie. Who Green Tea actually has become a big supporter of, I've heard. Green Tea had a lot of good things to say about your services, R420. So keep that up. R420 Supplies says, Happy Friday, folks. It's unusual for me to be having a smoke while the show is on. Because, yeah, at R420 Supplies to be in the store doing his job. So fair play, looking after our community. Much needed. Others out there. Excuse me. Green Tea says, yeah, that was the best pick before she fell over from the weight. Yeah, that plant got so fat, it fell over from the weight. And that's not a bad complaint to be having, really, is it? When it comes to cannabis, anyway. Nice. Enjoy the pizza, R420. Want green triangle from the quality street now. And Skatana says the pistols in that lady, oh yeah, they were. They're intense, aren't they? In fairness, like yeah, that's a beautiful picture, beautiful plant as well. In fairness, like credit to the grower. 3 minutes and counting, less than 3 minutes actually. Oh, Tom Hennigan says Galway is doing a cannabis info day on the 30th of October. Yeah, I think that's been led by the guys over at Crown, the Crown over on Reddit. CRAINN for anybody looking to spell that. They have a website now and all, crown.com, I believe. But yeah, I think they're leading that one there. I'm hoping, I reached out to the guys at Crown to see if they'll come on the podcast to have a chat about it. But I haven't heard anything back from them yet. But hopefully I'll hear back from them soon. I'd love to be able to hear more about what's going on there. It seems like they've gotten a nice group of people there working behind the scenes on this, and I'd love to hear and learn more about it and help support them in any way I can too. So yeah, that's what's going on there. Cassidus Drugas was asking for more info on that there. Tom Hennigan says it's up on Reddit over on Crown. Yeah, nice one. Yeah, I see that some of the guys informed you there in that as well. Yeah, there we go. Right, guys, I am going to say lovey and leavey. I see Constant Gardener out there as well. What's going on, Constant Gardener? DB Woodcraft checking in as well. What's happening? Irish Hemp Harvest out there as well. What's happening, guys? Hope you're all well. And anybody, I hope I didn't miss anybody, guys. I hope I got to everybody there in the comments. Katana, Ross, Dr. Green Thumb, what's happening? Anybody else? I think that's everybody now. Yeah, I think that's everybody said hello to. So guys, if you haven't done so already, get on over there. I see some of the comments coming in there already up on the chat box for the Green Tea interview, but it'll be going live there in less than a minute. So get on over there, guys, and have a nice evening and a lovely weekend. Stay blazed and keep her lit.